What up YouTube, it's Misery Rates Company. In today's video, we will be doing a comparison of all of the new essences, all 60 of them coming to the game with the Blood Knight in less than a week, all 60 of the new legendary essences. We're going to talk about which ones are going to be the best and the worst and everything in between, guys. I will do a side-by-side comparison of the new essences and the skills at which that they are impacting, since we're not really as familiar with the new Blood Knight skills like we were previously with some of the other classes. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight to the video. Okay, so on the right side here, we will go through the individual essences. On the left side, I will pull up whichever skill it is impacting. So first is the chest pieces. All right, so Wave of Blood also reduces the movement speed. Wave of Blood, which one is that? All right, so Wave of Blood is this one. This is the one where you sort of just throw the blood at them. So now it will actually reduce the movement speed of all enemies hit by 40% for 3 seconds. Okay, so that makes it pretty viable if you're chasing someone down. Swarm of Bats, damage increase. So that's just the one where you summon a bunch of bats. But again, could be pretty good. And keep in mind, this is a chest piece. Whirling Strike also grants 5% damage reduction per enemy hit for 3 seconds. This effect stacks up to 6 times, maximum of 6 times. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Looking at 30% damage for 3 seconds. Okay. I wonder if you can continue stacking it past that. Otherwise, that could be pretty interesting. This is Whirling Strike. That could be good for farming, I would think, if it just continues to keep going. Damage reduction. But it's damage reduction, not damage done. So you just take less damage. So yeah, I don't know about that. All right, Shroud of Night now only empowers you, causing every other primary attack to conjure a shadow apparition to attack enemies. That would be this one, Shadowy Night. So basically, in its old state, it would allow you and your allies. And this one just does you. I'm assuming there's a certain amount of damage increase as well, because otherwise it's a little weird. Shroud of Night now empowers you and nearby allies, causing your primary attacks to mark enemies for death. The marks explode upon reaching 5 stacks, dealing damage to the marked enemy. The marks explode upon reaching 5 stacks, dealing damage to the marked enemy. Okay, so same skill here, but now it does a little bit different, where you can actually mark the enemy, and it's you and your allies can basically focus down an enemy, if you will, which could be really good for PvP. I'm trying to think if it'd be good for PvE. It really just sort of depends on that damage. Obviously, you would mark a boss, I would think, and then just blow it up. That's sort of where my brain goes. So Shroud of Night now periodically conjures shadowy apparatuses that grant shields to you and your nearby allies. Meh, I don't see that being as good because it's periodically. So like when it comes to shielding in this game, you want to be able to activate it as soon as you're about to take heavy damage. And I don't necessarily trust a shadowy apparatus to just active a shield on me at the right time. So this is probably the lowest tier 1 so far. Sangregate now also shatters enemy armor, increasing the damage they take by 10% for 3 seconds. Interesting. Where's that one? Sangregate. I think it's up here. Right there. All right, so this is the one where you actually run through them. All right, so when you run through them in your bloody form, basically you now shatter their armor, increasing the damage they take by 10%. Okay, that could be good. Could be good. Another one is, okay, so Tendrils of Blood now tethers you to an enemy. That's one of the ones up here. Yeah, so this is the little tentacle things. Now tethers you to an enemy, immobilizing you and stunning them for up to 3 seconds. The blood tether continually deals damage to the linked enemy and can be broken at any time by activating the skill again. Doesn't feel very good, I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna probably skip that one as well. Again, I'm assuming there's different damage modifiers that just aren't being shown, but we will know in a week. Ruins Bindings. So same skill here. Tendrils of Blood now throws enemies to a target location, dealing damage and stunning them. Again, if that's for PvP, holy shit, that's so much CC for this. But otherwise, for PvE, it's kind of meh. All right, so Wave of Blood. That would be Wave of Blood. This one. Again, throwing the blood. Maximum charges increased by 1. So you can throw blood 3 times. Interesting. So for this one, I don't know. I think that the Swarm of Bats is probably going to be pretty good, if that's a good skill. The one where periodically Sangregate now also shatters enemy armor. I think that one is also going to be pretty good if that's your main movement ability. Basically run through something and then do more damage to it. Seems good. That's about it. Otherwise, it's kind of meh. Let's going on to the helmet. Siphon blood. Now, all right, siphon blood, siphon blood, siphon blood, siphon of blood. Yep, that's the one where you sort of stand in one spot and then move through them and do a ton of damage. Now slows and binds nearby enemies to you. When siphon blood expires, you expel a wave of blood, damaging and stunning all nearby enemies that were still bound to you. All right, so if you're in PvP, they're probably just going to break that. So it's more of a PvE thing. Wave of blood range increased by 20%. Wow. Okay, that feels good, right? I mean, we can all agree that probably feels pretty good. Spear Fury deals 15% increased damage to enemies suffering loss of control. Okay. Spear Fury. That's the one that I liked in the beginning. I feel like it's probably one of the first ones. Yeah, this one was really good. But suffering from loss of control, that I don't feel great about. Horns of the Hexed. Siphon blood is no longer channeled. Siphon blood, siphon blood, siphon blood. All right, this is again siphon blood, the one we were just talking about. Is no longer channeled and now moves with you, dealing damage and draining the life of nearby enemies. Okay, that is it. That's the winner. That's going to be the one that you're going to use for PvE. That's going to be just very similar to the wizard, where the little ball that someone's above you and just damages everything. This one, that's it. That's the winner. Horns of Hex. That's the one you're going to want. No longer is channeled and now moves with you, dealing damage and drains the life of nearby enemies. Love that. Love that. Love that. Very good for farming. So you want to focus on the headpiece. Now, while you're here, we should, when we get to the shoulders, remember, if you do not, at level 10 of your battle pass, if you don't use it on your current class and you wait to get it on the Blood Knight, you could select potentially one of these new essences just straight from it, which could be really good, could be really bad. We'll see. Obviously, the helm, that's really exciting. All right, so Hush. Shroud of Night's duration increased by 30%. Shroud of Night is one of these down here. So that's the one where they shrouds you and your allies for 8 seconds. Shadowy apparitions of yourself, and it emerge every 1.5 seconds to unleash your primary attack. Okay. So it lasts a little bit longer. Siphon blood now instantly drains the life of nearby enemies to grant yourself or an ally a shield that absorbs damage, but no longer heals you. Shielding an ally will also grant you a shield. All right, so siphon blood is this one again. And now instantly drains the life of nearby enemies to grant yourself or an ally a shield for absorption. I still feel like the other one's better. So moving on. Whirling Strike, maximum charges increased by 1. Okay. Oh, that one's actually pretty good. That could be good for different things as well, because that's the one where it spins around you. Okay. Shroud of Night also increases your evasion rating by 12. Oh, wow. That's a new thing. Interesting. Only by 12%, so I don't know how good or bad that is, because we don't really talk about evasion all that much. Whirling Strike also blocks incoming projectiles. Interesting. So that's the one right here where you do your polearm around you multiple times, and you basically use it as a shield in that case to not take projectile damage. That could be interesting. Very good, very interesting for PvP, I would think, depending on what's a projectile and what's not. So Siphon Blood, which is the hovering one again. Siphon. Nope, too far. Up here. Siphon Blood. That's this one. Now absorbs the power from nearby enemies, reducing their damage. Each affected enemy provides you with increased damage. Now absorbs the power from enemy, reducing their damage. Okay, I mean, meh. I think that's okay. Moving on to the main hands. Now keep in mind, you can, if you're an Inferno, you can equip 2 of these. All right, now moving on to the helmets. Whirling Strike, which we were just on, this one, now unleashes a blast, dealing damage to enemies caught in its path. Okay, so no longer, well, no, it was never channeled, so it just blast in front of you, I assume. All right, interesting. Skewer now causes you to leap into the air and slam into the target location, knocking enemies up and stunning them. So Skewer, that one could be good. Again, it's more of a single target PvE thing, I would assume. If it's for PvP, it's totally busted, but I'm going to assume that it's PvE. Still makes it pretty cool though, where you leap into the air and slam it to the ground. I'm assuming that makes it sort of a like an untargetable, which could be really, really good. Umbral Lance deals up to 20% increased damage the further you are from the target. Umbral Lance, which one was that? I feel like I don't remember that one. Is that one of the auto attacks? No, it's this one. This is the one that I said was gonna be basically worthless. So let's see how many of these change it. So we're hurl a lance to Pure of Darkness, penetrate enemies, dealing damage. Charging. This is a charge skill. 20% increased damage the further you are from the target. Okay, kind of eh. All right, so moving on. When Siphon Blood, which is one of these. Siphon Blood. That's that one. When Siphon Blood damages the same enemy 3 times, it causes them to hemorrhage, dealing additional damage. That's a type of bleed. Hemorrhaging, if you're not familiar with that word. So it could be another damage over time effect, which has some interesting implications for that Siphon of Blood. Could be good. That one is one I would keep an eye on, especially, like I said, we can equip 2 of these. So the final strike of Ravage combo. Ravage. Is that one of the... Yeah, okay, so this buffs your auto attack. The final strike of Ravage combo unleashes a wave of energy that deals damage to enemies. That could be really, really good. I like buffing auto attacks. Minus what that new legendary gem does. Oh god, it's gonna be so busted. Whirling Strike is now infused with Frost, chilling enemies, reducing their attack and movement speed. Interesting. That's Whirling Strike, right? Alright, that's a spinning boy. So you could do some interesting things with that spinning boy for sure. Yeah, alright. Whirling Strike is now... Okay. Whirling Strike now combusts, causing enemies to burn. Oh, yeah. So Whirling Strike is definitely going to be one of your main abilities, and there's no doubt about that. You get 2 charges of something that burns people. That's definitely going to be used a lot. So keep your eye on that one for sure. And keep in mind, you can have 2 main hands. So I'm going to go and assume that's going to be one of them, because burns are really, really good. But then there are some other good ones here already. Moving on, so Siphon Blood also slows enemies. Siphon Blood. I always forget where they are. Right there. Okay. So Siphon Blood also slows enemy movement speed by 30%, absorbing their vigor and increasing your movement speed by 10% up to 30%. Slows enemy movement speed, okay. Absorbing their vigor and increase your movement speed by 10% up to 30%. So basically, if you slow 3 enemies, you get your movement speed up to 3%, 30%. I could see that being good for farming if you do that with the head that we talked about, where you no longer channel it and it just follows you. Doing that and this main hand would make it really, really good for farming, especially. Moving on, Skewer is the one that we slam people on the ground. Yep, right there. Skewer now causes you to sprint forward while dragging your spear, releasing the skill to knock your enemies up in the air. Okay, so you no longer actually skewer them. You instead just run at them, sprinting. I don't know how fast. Dragging your spear and then releasing the skill, you knock them in the air. So basically a pop-up. That could be really good and some interesting options there. So Whirling Strike, which is the one that we talked about. This one gets buffed a lot on these essences. Now sweeps your polearm in front of you, damaging, slowing, and pulling enemies to the side. That one doesn't feel good at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I do think one of the must pick up one is the red Concord. The Whirling Strike now combusts, causing enemies to burn. Feels very, very, very good. And then the Siphon Blood one also feels pretty good because it is movement speed and damage, and movement speed are probably the most important things in this game for most cases, both PvE and PvP. Now, Offhand, again, you can use 2 of them, so it'll be interesting to see which ones we feel like we call out, if you will. Umbral Lance, which is the one that I feel like is just kind of garbage. So when you charge up, I always forget where it is. Umbral Lance. Right there. Now throws... Oh, wait. Causes shadowy spears to randomly fall from the sky within an area, dealing damage to enemies. Now, look at that. That makes Umbral Lance actually usable. So it no longer charges, it sounds like. I could be wrong, but I'm interpreting it. It's no longer charging. And instead, you just drop shadow spears from the sky in an area of effect area. That feels really good. Good job. Okay. I already like the first one. Umbral Lance now throws a Shadow Lance forward into the ground, dragging enemies in its path. Activate again to rush the polearm, stunning and dealing additional damage to any enemy in your path. Now, if this is truly like a skill shot, if you will, where like you just get an arrow to aim it and you got to throw it, hit it, and then you sprint, like that could be so good. Oh my god, that could be so exciting and fun for PvP in particular. That would be freaking sick. All right. God, that sounds like so much fun. I can't even lie. All right, so after Shadowy's Edge hits an enemy, Shadowy's Edge. Which one's that? Have we talked about Shadowy Edge yet? Shadowy's Edge. Shadow's Edge. Oh, it's an auto attack. No. Wield a blade. All right, so wield a blade of pure shadows energy that can be used. All right. Oh no, this is the auto attack. Yeah. Okay, so this is the auto attack. So this is another one boosting your auto attacks. Where was I? So after it hits an enemy, 2 blades ricochet out randomly, targeting nearby enemies, dealing damage to them. So that could be good for farming as well, where you use 1 blade, and then as soon as it hits something, it ricochets to other people. That feels good. Wave of Blood. Wave of Blood. That's the where you throw blood. Blech. Now releases a bloody explosion, damaging, knocking back, and stunning enemies within the area. That's going to be good for PvP. Shadow's Edge, again. The auto attack. Now unleashes an eruption of blood around you, dealing damage and knocking up nearby enemies. Really? No, I moved around. Oh, there it is. Causing them to erupt. Wait, did I skip around? Wave of Blood. Okay, yeah. So, wow, I did skip around. So, Shadow's Edge, again, this one that we're looking at, causing marks an enemy, causing them to erupt for additional damage when reaching 4 marks. So, basically, you hit an enemy 4 times, and then they erupt for additional damage. All right, moving on. So, Wave of Blood now creates a Well of Death that slows enemies within until they are immobilized. All right, so you do get 2 charges of it, it still says, it looks like. So, you can slow enemies a couple times, which is pretty good. Wave of Blood now unleashes an eruption of blood around you, dealing damage and knocking up enemies nearby. That's really good. That could be good for PvP especially. It's a lot of CC. You could really build a full CC build out of this guy. Right there. So Skewer also increases your damage done by 10% for 4 seconds. Okay, that's okay. Not a long time. Umbral Lance. That's the one that we talked about earlier. Right there. Now conjures a giant void spear that falls from the sky, damaging, knocking back, and stunning enemies within the area. Based off that description, it sounds like it would fall slowly, but that'll be interesting to see. Umbral Lance now throws multiple spears in an arc. Okay, that could be interesting. Moving on to the pants. Sanguinate. Where is that? That was lower. All right, so Sanguinate. Okay, that one. So we're on the pants, like I said. So Sanguinate's second activation now causes you to burst into the air. What? Okay, that is going to be really good for movement. Burst into the air, damaging, knocking up, and stunning nearby enemies. Good lord, that's going to be so sick in PvP. All right, now Swarm of Bats now also poisons enemy, causing them to take continual damage for 3 seconds. I like that too. The bats is obviously this one. So they do continual damage to enemies when they seek them down, and then they also poison them. That's really good, it feels like. So while Abomination, that's the one where you turn into an abomination itself, right there. Okay. Is active. Defeating an enemy heals you for 5% of your life, up to a maximum of 80% life restored during your transformation. Okay. So again, it lasts for 15 seconds. We don't know if we can boost that or make it longer or not. But you can heal yourself basically 80%. And that feels pretty interesting, depending on how good that mode is. Mythic Cloud. Duration increased by 30%. Wow, that's a long time. That was the one right here. So that's the one where you go invisible. Releasing a toxic cloud for 6 seconds that confuses enemies, causing enemies to attack them. So it's what, 2 additional seconds? All right, maybe it's not as long as I thought. All right, so Spear Fury. That was one of the first ones. I like that one in the beginning, right there. Now causes you to run forward, damaging and knocking back all enemies in your path. So it's more of a dash now. Interesting. I wonder if you still channel it. If not, this could be good for farming. Interesting, though. Abomination also conjures an unholy aura around you for the duration of your transformation, dealing damage every second. Yep, that's the one. That's the one you want. That feels pretty good. If Abomination is a good skill, adding an AoE to it, that's the one. That's the one you're gonna want. Now, if not, the Swarm of Bat poisoning people feels really good. And also this feels good from a movement standpoint. So some really good pant options. Now, again, the shoulders. I cannot stress it enough. And this is the last one. They probably did this on purpose. In the Battle Pass, level 10, if you do not choose a new legendary for whatever class you're on, and you save that for when the Blood Knight comes out, you should, don't hold me to it, but you should be able to class change and then select a shoulder for your new class. That's what I plan on trying to attempt. So let's see which one we can potentially pick from. Again, you pick usually from 6, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. So you can pick from one of at least over half. It could be really good. Moving on. Swarm of Bats. All right. We know which one the bats are, but just in case. To be consistent. unleashes a barrage of bats, dealing damages in their path. What's the change? I mean, so they don't hunt people anymore? I don't really understand that one. So while Abomination is active, defeating an enemy increases the remaining duration of Abomination by 0.4 seconds for a maximum of 4.8 seconds. That's what I was kind of waiting for. So again, if Abomination is good, you could use the pants that make it have an unholy aura around you, which makes it do additional damage per second. And then you can extend the duration by the longer that you're in it. This also feels pretty good. But this is upon defeating an enemy, so it's not going to be all that great for PvP. It's not going to be good for raids. It's more of a farm thing, so keep that in mind as well. Maybe even dungeons. You could argue in dungeons that's probably the target. Now that I say that, that's probably the target is for dungeons. So while Abomination is active, defeating an enemy grants you Abomination's Might, increasing your damage done by 3% up to a maximum of 15% during your transformation. So you just do increasingly more damage towards the end of your Abomination. It seems like it would raise my anxiety to try to manage that. I'm not gonna lie, but it feels like it could be a good addition. Mythic Cloud also causes harmful effects to last 30% longer. That's this one right here. Okay, that could be okay. Siphon Blood also converts 6% of the damage done into an absorbed shield. Siphon Blood. I don't remember that one. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, okay. Interesting. These are all over the place, though. It's not like one skill that's getting buffed like some of the other ones. It's like they're buffing all types of different skills. So Umbral Lance maximum charges increased by 1. Okay. You do it twice. Could be good, could be bad. Don't know. Spear Fury. Now, I mean, that could be good with some of the other ones that like make it an AoE where you don't charge it anymore. But at face value, that one's just kind of meh. But again, if you tie it with other essences, it could be really good. Spear Flurry also causes enemy to bleed for 3 seconds. That feels really, really good. Really, really, really good. I really, really like this skill, the Spear of Fury. So that's going to be one that I'm assuming is probably good for PvE, especially when it comes to raids. Being able to tag that bleed on every time you do this. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm not going to lie. Siphon Blood now also deals 20% increased damage to enemies suffering from continual damage effects. Siphon Blood. So Siphon Blood has a lot of different buffs. So it feels like Siphon Blood and Spear of Fury and Abomination are probably the ones that get like the most attention, it would appear. Which is interesting. Oh, and Swarm of Bats. So Swarm of Bats now shrouds you in a fog of blood mist, increasing your movement speed and making you untargetable while also dealing damage to nearby enemies. Wait. Okay. So if you read the next one, though, I started reading the next one in my head. So the first one here, Swarm of Bats now shrouds you in a fog of blood mist, increasing your movement speed and making you untargetable while also dealing damage to nearby enemies. I'm assuming it doesn't last for 8 seconds. That'd be kind of crazy. But then the next one is Swarm of Bats now engulfs you in a cloud of bats, continually damaging to nearby enemies. So, what? Like this one, I'm assuming lasts longer. Like either one of these could be good for farming. So, all right. So in that case, what I'll probably do is I will pick one of these to help me farm a little bit quicker, more efficient. This one feels like the better one since it increases movement speed and damage to nearby enemies. It's going to depend on the amount of damage and if it's even selectable from the shoulders that we get to pick from in the battle pass, if that even works, which it should. But again, all of these seem really, really good. I think the Blood Knight has some very interesting variety. In PvP in particular, it feels like it's going to be very, very strong. A lot of CC at its disposal, some decent movement when you add the essences. And all in all, I'm really looking forward to being on the Blood Knight probably for a while. I'm not going to lie. I'll probably be on this Blood Knight for a decent amount of time. So expect a ton of videos about the Blood Knight. Could be really good, could be really bad. I think at face value, it looks really, really good though. So let me know which essence you think is the best or which skill essence combination you're most excited for in the comments below, guys. And I will be coming out with probably another video about the Blood Knight tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And until next time, lock it in.